dear little ones, tonight's story is for a kind boy, Ryan, 6 years old, from California. He always listens to our stories with such a sweet and kind heart. And if you want to hear your name in one of our next stories, just leave us a comment under any of our lullaby or music videos. Maybe the next bedtime story will be yours. All right, my loves, tonight I'm going to tell you one of the most magical stories ever told. A story about kindness, jealousy, and true love. The story of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. Once upon a time, in a faraway kingdom covered in snow, there lived a gentle queen. One winter day, while she was sewing by the window, she pricked her finger, and 3 drops of blood fell on the white snow. The queen smiled and whispered, "Oh, how I wish to have a daughter with skin as white as snow, lips as red as blood, and hair as black as ebony." Not long after, her wish came true. A lovely baby girl was born, more beautiful than words. They named her Snow White, but the queen became sick and passed away soon after. Time passed. The king married again. His new wife was beautiful but cold and proud, and her heart was full of envy. She owned a magic mirror that always told the truth. Every day she asked proudly, "Magic mirror on the wall, tell me, who's the fairest of them all?" And the mirror always replied, "You, my queen, are the fairest of all." But one day the mirror said, "My queen, you are fair indeed, but Snow White is fairer than you." Oh, children, jealousy burned like fire inside her heart. She called her huntsman and ordered coldly, "Take the girl into the forest and make sure she never returns." The huntsman took Snow White deep into the dark woods, but when he saw her innocent eyes, he couldn't harm her. "Run, my dear child," he whispered. "Run far away and never look back." Snow White ran through the forest, frightened but brave, until she saw a small wooden cottage hidden among the trees. She knocked, but no one answered, so she softly stepped inside. Everything inside was tiny. 7 chairs, 7 plates, 7 little beds. She smiled and whispered, "Oh, this must be the home of some little people." She cleaned the house, cooked a little food, and soon fell asleep. That night, the 7 dwarfs came home from their mine. Their lanterns glowed like stars. One gasped, "Someone's been here." Another whispered, "Look, there's a girl sleeping." Snow White woke up, looked around shyly, and said, "My name is Snow White. May I stay here, please?" The eldest dwarf smiled kindly and said, "You can stay, dear one, but never open the door to strangers. The world isn't always kind." Days went by happily. Snow White sang, cooked, and filled the cottage with laughter. The dwarfs adored her gentle heart. But far away, in the cold castle, the queen stood before her mirror again. "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of them all?" And the mirror replied, "Snow White is still alive, living with the 7 dwarfs in the forest." Her face twisted with anger. She used her dark magic and disguised herself as an old woman. With a wicked smile, she said quietly, "Now, my dear Snow White, it's time." She went to the cottage with a lace ribbon and knocked on the door. "Hello, dearie," she said sweetly. "Let me help you tie your dress. You'll look even prettier." Snow White trusted her and let her in, but the ribbon was pulled tighter and tighter until she fainted. When the dwarfs came home, they untied her and saved her. A few days later, the old woman came again, this time with a shiny golden comb. "Try this, my dear. It'll make your hair sparkle like sunlight," she said. Snow White smiled and brushed her hair, but the moment she did, she fell unconscious. The dwarfs came back, threw away the comb, and Snow White breathed again. But the queen refused to give up. She prepared a bright red apple, poisoned with magic. When Snow White opened the window, the old woman said softly, "Just one bite, my dear. It tastes like paradise." Snow White hesitated, but the woman bit her half and smiled. Snow White took a bite and fell to the floor. The apple rolled away into silence. When the dwarfs came home, they found her still and pale. Their tears fell, but she didn't move. So they made her a crystal coffin and placed her in it gently, surrounded by flowers. Days turned into months, and still she lay there, as beautiful as ever, untouched by time. One day, a young prince was riding through the forest. When he saw her, he stopped and whispered, "She looks like she's only sleeping." He asked the dwarfs if he could take the coffin to keep her safe. As they lifted it, one of them stumbled, and a piece of apple slipped from Snow White's throat. She took a deep breath and opened her eyes. "Where am I?" she asked softly. The prince smiled warmly and said, "You're safe now, in the arms of life and love." He took her hand, and together they went back to his castle. A big celebration was held. The dwarfs came too, singing, laughing, and dancing all night. And as for the magic mirror, it stayed silent forever, because it finally understood that true beauty lives not in the face, but in the kindness of the heart. And so, Snow White and the prince lived happily ever after. The 7 dwarfs visited them often, bringing flowers and laughter to the castle. My sweet little ones, if one snowy day you look out your window and see a girl with a kind smile singing in the woods, that's Snow White, with a heart purer than snow. Now, if you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with your friends, so they can listen and dream along with us too. Until another night and another story, sleep tight, my darlings, and may God bless you.